I am here. You can see this is a school. So I've actually come to pick my boy from school. But I think I came early, so I'll have to wait for like 1 hour inside this car. That's what I've been told. But I want to use this opportunity to dissect something which is coming up. There is a narrative which Mutahi Ngunyi is trying to advance in this country. And in that narrative, Mutahi Ngunyi is alleging that the presidency should not rotate between two tribes for 60 years. And that narrative by Mutahi Ngunyi is actually causing a major political storm within Team Tanga Tanga, because that's the counter narrative to the Hustler Nation. And the narrative is actually gaining traction within the country. And Mutahi Ngunyi is not your ordinary Kenyan. In 2013, Mutahi Ngunyi crafted a narrative, the Tyranny of Numbers. And you all know that majority of people in Tanga Tanga were actually part and parcel of Jubilee Party. So they understand the power of Mutahi Ngunyi and they are worried. In 2013, Mutahi Ngunyi came up with the Tyranny of Numbers just for one reason: to perpetuate tribal dominance over the rest of Kenyans. Because what Mutahi Ngunyi advocated for that time was that two tribes, that is the Kikuyu and the Kalenjins, can rule this country as long as they want, because they had or they have the numbers. Mutahi Ngunyi's narrative, Tyranny of Numbers narrative, by that time was informed by the fact that the rest of the country were with Raila Odinga. But only two tribes were not with him, that is the Kikuyus and the Kalenjins. And after the election, because remember, President Uhuru Kenyatta and William Samoei Ruto had an agreement that Uhuru was going to rule for 10 years, then leave it for William Samoei Ruto for another 10 years. And Mutahi Ngunyi, being one of the advisors, then crafted another narrative for William Samoei Ruto. And in that narrative, Mutahi Ngunyi talked of the Hustler narrative, the Hustler Nation. And the main idea behind the Hustler Nation then and now was actually to still perpetuate the tribal dominance over the rest of the country. Mutahi Ngunyi knew so well that Kenyans were not going to freely support William Samoei Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta, because by that time they were still an item. That Kenyans were now getting tired with the Kikuyu presidency rotating to a Kalenjin presidency. So he came up with a Hustler narrative. The idea behind Hustler narrative was simple: let Kenyans be told that there is no tribe in this country, that the only tribe we have is the tribe of the poor and the tribe of the rich. And because most of the key players within the political circles by that time were people whose fathers had worked previously with the government, and therefore they were branded the dynasties. Talk of Musalia Mudavadi, talk of even Kalonzo Musyoka, talk of even Gideon Moi. So to perpetuate that rule of Uhuru Ruto, he came up with that particular narrative of Hustler Nation. So when he came up with this new narrative of what we call the new narrative, what is calling rotational presidency, these guys are worried. Let me just read for you briefly the tweet which is causing the storm in this country. Mutahi Ngunyi is saying that William Ruto, no, he's saying Kikuyus will be out of power for the next 30 years. Their future of government must be decided in the next 365 days. And William Ruto is not the future. To circulate the presidency between Kikuyus and Kalenjins is a crime against other 41 tribes. Choices: Raila Odinga and Matiang'i. So Mutahi Ngunyi is coming up with the name of Matiang'i as a possible replacement and the name of Raila Odinga. I want to be on record. Personally, I think I started this narrative way ahead of Mutahi Ngunyi. Personally, I believe that it is immoral for two tribes to rotate the presidency amongst themselves for 60 years. And on Twitter and on Facebook, I've actually been calling upon the Kikuyus and the Kalenjins to agree that the rest of the country can actually lead. I'm not being tribal. Let's face it. The main reason why Kikuyus voted for President Uhuru Kenyatta was not that they love him so much. They did that because they wanted to protect their presidency. So which means the tribalism in this country, the tribal dominance in this country is actually perpetuated by you and probably me. Moi was the president of this Republic of Kenya for 24 years. He did very many bad things. But still, Kalenjins who are now telling you that there is nothing like tribal leaders, that it's about individuals, are failing to tell you that during Moi's rule, they viewed Moi as one of their own. So the narrative, in my view, should be advanced. Kenyans must get into a conversation that should other tribes also be allowed to rule? And if they are not allowed to rule, then what next? Because if you are saying that Moi, how many presidents have we had in this country? We've had Mzee Kenyatta, a Kikuyu, Mzee Moi, a Kalenjin, Mzee Kibaki, a Kikuyu, Uhuru Kenyatta, a Kikuyu. Then what is being pushed today is William Ruto, a Kalenjin. And those who are pushing for William Ruto are saying that we must do away with the dynasties because these dynasties have led. There is no way Moi could have created a dynasty without the support of his tribesmen. They can hide under that. But the fact of the matter is that tribalism is the biggest problem. Let us have a conversation about tribal dominance in this country. I'm not saying that Kikuyus should not lead. I'm not saying that Kalenjins should not lead. My take is that other tribes must also be allowed to lead. Let me read for you another tweet by Mutahi Ngunyi, which is very interesting. Before that, let me just also read for you another tweet which I made before Mutahi Ngunyi made this. Just for the record, I am on record advising Kenyans to defeat tribal dominance by the two tribes. There is no way a country can be ruled for 60 years by only two tribes. Let's reason. Mutahi Ngunyi is right. Then Mutahi Ngunyi is saying, some fellas have called me a tribalist because I said you cannot rotate the presidency between Kikuyus and Kalenjins for 60 years. If this makes me a tribalist, I want to confirm that yes, I am a tribalist. Then next, let us have this conversation. Because there is no way you can say that Gideon Moi cannot rule this country because the father ruled the country. But you are forgetting that the father ruled the country because you, as a Kalenjin, you perpetuated that rule. Kikuyus took oath in the last election, in 2013 also, to defend the leadership of President Uhuru Kenyatta or the leadership from leaving the Mount Kenya region to go to other tribes. We've tried this country. It's not working. And I want to challenge anybody why I strongly believe that there is a problem, and that problem is tribal dominance. The idea of dynasty, the ideas of hustler is actually to perpetuate that tribal dominance. I want to challenge anybody here to go to any energy sector. And in energy sector, we have several parastatals. We have Kenyan, we have the geothermal, we have Kenya Power. I want to challenge you. These parastatals have offices across the country, which is okay. I want you to prepare a list of their regional managers, their finance managers, their HR, and their human resource managers. Those 4 people. Prepare that list. Anybody who is serious here can go and outside there and prepare that list. If you prepare that list and you present it to Kenyans, then you'll understand what we call tribal dominance. And this tribal dominance is what is creating problems in this country. Your man is the president. He appoints a cabinet minister who is his tribe. The cabinet minister then goes ahead, appoints a regional manager. Regional manager goes ahead, appoints head of departments from the region as a reward. So we are in a country where today, most parastatals, people actually speak the same language. We have so many people who are qualified, who can do better jobs, but they can't do that because they come from wrong tribes. So in my considered opinion, I'm not saying that the person must be Raila Odinga. I'm not saying that the person must be Musalia Mudavadi. We have other Kenyans. We can even try an Ogiek. We can even try someone from the coast. In fact, Amason Kingi fits the bill. We can even try some other tribes so that ultimately we can experience the leadership from other tribes. When a tribe or two tribes leads for 60 years, there's a chance that probably their relatives will dominate businesses. There's a chance that their friends will dominate businesses. There's a chance that their tribesmen will be favored. I want to ask you a question. Assuming President Uhuru Kenyatta was not the president of the Republic of Kenya, do you think that scandal in which, is it the sister, supplied containers which are not helpful in this country would have happened? So the tribal dominance, tribalism is not bad. Get me right. And each and every tribe in this country deserves the right, because ultimately it's the voters who are supposed to decide. But for the record, let us have a conversation in this country. Two tribes, in my considered opinion, should not rule the country for 60 years. On this channel alone, for example, I receive a lot of support, both moral and material. There are people who send me money on this channel. And majority of these people are not my fellow tribesmen. If I was to depend on my tribesmen on this channel, it would collapse. The support I get from Kikuyus on this channel will shock you. The support I get from Kisis on this channel will shock you. The support I get from Kalenjins on this channel will shock you. Luo support me, but not to the level of the support I get from the Kikuyus, especially. And I've been telling my friends outside this channel that I'm actually shocked at the kind of support I get from Kikuyus, despite the fact that some of them don't agree with me. The support I get from them, not Luos. Luos support me. Some will tell you that Lee, hapo umeongea vizuri, lakini you should have used even. You see, like some of us who went to schools in the village, you can talk of Evan, Evan Raila Odinga. So they'll remind you that it's not Evan, it's even. So that's the contribution most of them make on this channel. But there are people, I don't know them by names. I mean, I don't know them. We just interact on this channel. They call me all the way from the US. There's Mwangi from UK. There is Rachel in the USA. There is Ngige from Kirinyaga. There's this lady. She's old. She's like 60 something years old. Always talking to me. Even introduced me to the kids. They support me. They are not Luos. So if they were to support this channel because this channel is for a fellow Kikuyu, probably they will not do that. But they're doing this channel because they believe that whatever I'm doing in this channel, whether they agree with it or not, is adding value. So that's exactly what I'm trying to say. Let us give other tribes also a chance, so that when we are voting, we don't vote based on our tribes. We don't vote that Kalenjins and Kikuyus have the numbers, and therefore the only thing they need is not to craft a narrative of hustler to get a few poor people here and there to top up, so that tribal dominance is continued. Let me hear your thoughts on this, because I'm very honest on this. I want to hear your thoughts on this thing called tribal dominance. If you are tired with the dynasties, then we must also be tired with the tribal dominance. Thank you guys, and please may you have a good day.